I clearly, I clearly know what scene I'm using. I'm not an idiot. Shut up.
Okay, I see that you've modified the token, but you've not modified thing in the
What?
corner, in the actual like
What thing in the
images
corner?
down there.
What? What?
The icon.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, the
The images that move while we talk.
Oh no, no, I did not. I completely forgot, and I'll do it next stream because I don't have the patience or nor the time to do it right now. Hi everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of Telia Misfits. We're going on 19 episodes, guys. We're almost to number 20, which makes me
Almost to the
worried.
big nat 20.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
which makes me worried because the last campaign I was DMing Talia Tales ended on session 19. So let's hope it doesn't go the same way, right? Right.
Well, I don't think we're immediately getting into any combat, so we should be safe.
Anyway,
Also, the gift sub I was given expired, so I can't spam TPK, so I can't die.
yes, yes, all right.
Don't
Well,
worry, Seth. I got you covered.
oh fuck you. All right, so I am here joined with my good friends. Let's start with Sarcastrophe.
Hey everyone!
All right, nice, nice. No random weird noises. Ocean X.
That's me.
Ah, good, good. Raining Blades.
Beep boop bop.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I know who's dying today. Savian. I know. It's gonna be half a TPK then. And Spiral Proxy. Cool, cool. 3 out of 2.
So Massive is gonna kill all the non-human characters. Wow.
That's racist.
Wow.
Wow.
Now listen here. Listen here, chap. That's not how things go. All right. So, since last session, most of the session was split between 3 locations where, because this party likes to split up a lot, whether they like it or not, actually. But regardless, since it was split, and we usually do a last time from one character's point of view, I will be doing it from an observer's point of view. And that observer is just me, because it's just better that way. Anyway, last time on Telia Misfits, the party split up. One was taken by Arthur Dane to do certain experiments and find out the nature as to why Albion has such an interest on a mere apprentice. 2 others were taken by the Inquisition, by the worshippers of Mal, for an investigation to inquire upon certain things that relate to these 2 individuals and their involvement in this gruesome murder of the Duke. And finally, Demir and Terry, they made their way back home. Clearly, nothing interesting would happen there. So, first, the Inquisition, the 2 members at the Inquisition, were questioned, and surprisingly, everything went well, despite a lot of worry from people. They told the truth. They spoke in earnest, and they were let out after some gentle interrogation, which would not have been so gentle if they were not as compliant as was implied. Props to Kyoho, especially, who openly admitted to be a possible sister of the assassin. In the meantime, Demir and Terry were approached by Belladonna, an investigator from a certain employer related to the Red Council that offered to protect the party through very unusual means by incriminating Arthur Dane on this murder, by pinning the assassination on Arthur through plenty of evidence. They struggled with it, but Demir ended up agreeing with Terry's nod, and they made their way back to the wounded soldier. In the meantime, Emerus and Arthur arrived at the mansion, only to find that there was someone there waiting for them. Arthur managed to make Emerus invisible, while he had a conversation with an old friend, Albion, the arch-transmuter, who seemed to be very disgruntled about the fact that Arthur has not been as diligent in the task that was asked of him to bring in Emerus. An altercation of words, at least, started, nearly erupted into a magical battle, but Albion decided that it was not worth it and made his way out. This seemed to spark something in Arthur, and he decided to do some thorough investigation upon Emerus, who unfortunately suffered greatly. Callahan and Kyoho joined Demir and Terry at the inn, and they discussed, at least for a little while, the proposition that was given to the latter two. But they decided to make a final decision on the subject once you got a night's rest, well, a day's rest, since it was the middle of the day, and once Emerus returned. He went to sleep, and by the end of the day, as the night started to fall, actually, yes, at the end of the day, around dinner time, Emerus, you were delivered through by a coach to the inn, covered in bandages, clothing disheveled, a distant gaze in their eyes as they entered the inn, and everyone else having a meal at a table together, notice Emerus's entrance, and that is where we left off last session, and that is where we will begin. So, you are having that meal, you do see Emerus enter. Emerus, you see a crowded inn, lots of people drinking, just trying to forget the hard day's work that was fixing up the damage caused by the dragon. And you do see your companions sitting at a table, looking in your general direction. At least Callahan, who was the first to notice because of his ungodly perception. What do you all do?
Emery's is kind of looking around very kind of nervously. Kind of looks briefly towards everyone and then looks down. Kind of just kind of looking to see what they're kind of doing, what their reactions are.
Callan would immediately jump from a seat, but then pause after seeing Emerus's new duds. So for what Emerus is wearing right now, is it?
It's the same kimono from last night, because you haven't been able to get your equipment back from David's tailor shop. So Emerus is still wearing what they wore to the party, and actually so is everyone.
Totally fair. We didn't book.
That means that you're still wearing your word-covered suit.
I'm pretty sure he's going to wear that for the rest of his life.
I've been debating whether or not that might be the new look. But
Yes.
But you're wearing there. I remember from last session there was like some sort of like mark of Arthur Dane.
I've got a little pendant thing, like a necklace.
Yes.
With like his kind of seal on it.
All right, in that case, so Callum kind of starts shivering before he immediately rushes towards Emrys.
All right.
So
Everyone
I would
else
like-
sees Callahan immediately move.
And I would like to wrap my arms around them and give them a big old hug while I cast Lesser Restoration. So as my arms go around them, with like the low grayish light of Maul to kind of emanate from it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Emerus, you do feel this warmth fill you. However, does not change what happened.
Oh,
How awful does Emrys look?
I was gonna ask that.
It looks like they have been through a very, very bad, I'd say half a day to almost a day, well, it's been a very, very bad experience, especially when they're covered in several bandages around their arms, their neck. You do see some around their ankles and the a side of the face. And the clothing is a mess. Not destroyed, but a mess. And still with that uneasy aura around them.
Alright, Demir is just he's sitting in place, he didn't get up and to greet Emrys, but he is very clearly furious.
Emery's
Yoho is
like,
sorry.
when Callahan moves into hug Emrys, he'll hear Emrys just kind of gasp softly, Emrys just kind of he feels Emrys kind of pushed back into Callahan, kind of moves their arms forward in kind of like a weak kind of half hug,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of doesn't look up to Callahan.
You immediately feel,
Doesn't say anything.
Emrys, you immediately feel as you try to move your arms. You can, but you immediately feel as if tiny needles are pricking all over your arms for a moment. It's not a very pleasant feeling.
Yeah, that's why it's kind of a weak half hug.
Mm-hmm.
Yoho is going to look over with a sense of sadness and anger and clench her fists.
Terry will just mumble, "We gotta take that brick down." Just and then continues drinking or water or something.
You can have ale if you want.
Yeah. It's morning. I'm a dwarf. Ale, yes.
It's actually dinner time. So yes.
Dinner. All right. So yeah.
Does it matter what time it is?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Very
as
fair.
an Irish guy, I can confirm it doesn't.
Well, keep in mind, no one here has ever made an Irish joke. Only the Irish guy.
Only me. I have noted that, and thank you guys. I do really appreciate how accepting you are of my cultural alcoholism.
Oh my god! All right. So yeah, you that happens. You go to hug. Oh, by the way, Emrys, he did tell you what the necklace does. That it lasts for 3 days, and holy shit, Dusk, thank you for giving Sev the ability to write TPK now. The TPK emote.
Did that only go through now? Did it?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I thought I bought that 20 minutes ago.
No,
Maybe
it's
Sev.
only now, but you're thank you. But there we go. GPK all around. But it covers you from any kind of divination for 3 days. For the next 3 days. After 3 days, it will lose all its power.
Mm-hmm. By the way, thanks.
Night barge, my bro.
So, what happens next?
God, Callan doesn't know what to do. He's like internally freaking the fuck
Should
out.
probably see if Emrys is hungry.
Emrys? Are
Was
you
that
hungry?
sorry? Was that Austin character?
No?
Okay. Oh, I thought it was.
Oh no, he wouldn't. No, sorry, I thought that was being asked in character. No, he definitely would not think this. He'd be like, "Oh, what the fuck? What do I do? What can I do? Oh shit! Oh no! Oh damn! Oh drats! Oh, what am I gonna do?"
Emrys isn't saying anything. Emrys is kind of just still kind of like as long as Callahan's hugging, Emrys is there.
Oh, he's gonna let you go. It's not gonna be a long awkward hug.
No
Emrys
more!
is still kind of after being kind of released, Emrys is still kind of looking down, kind of very distantly, and not only looking down but looking kind of glancing to the sides as well, looking a bit sort of uneasy, but doesn't say anything.
Terry, did you ask if...
No, I thought Kyo was saying in character, but no.
okay.
No one.
Oh, Nazca, thank you so much for the sub.
Oh,
God damn, really gotta one up me like that. Way to flex.
All right, so do you move towards the table at least? Do you move Emrys towards the table?
He's gonna pull up a seat, probably the one that Callahan was sitting in, and gesture for Emrys to come over and join them.
Emrys kind of looks to Demir, then kind of looks to what's Callahan? Is Callahan still just kind of standing there? Or?
Callan's kind of just keeping himself still. He's kind of like, if you move like too suddenly, he kind of like jerks and he's like, "Oh, make sure you don't fall." You know what I mean?
Emrys.
He's trying to figure out what to say because he wants to ask what happened. What's happened, but doesn't know the best way to pronounce or like to articulate it without doing the regular Callahan approach to things.
Emrys kind of looks towards like Demir and doesn't really look properly at Demir, just kind of looks at the seat, then kind of inches a little bit more towards Callahan, and kind of like reaches out and gently just kind of like grabs at Callahan's kind of like the bottom of his coat, and then Callahan just hears kind of somewhat faintly in his head, could we go somewhere more private, please?
Callan just kind of like nods and gives everyone kind of always like, me and Em are just gonna head outside real quick. Save us a seat, yeah?
let us know if you need anything.
And we exit the wounded soldier.
All right. You exit outside. The sun is setting.
Emrys doesn't keep going outside. Callahan hears again in his head. Outside isn't private.
We re-enter the wounded soldier and we go upstairs.
All right. You head upstairs. towards one of the rooms. All the rooms only have 2 beds. You go to your room, Callahan, where you are currently staying. I believe with Demir, was it?
That's correct.
Yes. So where you and Demir are currently staying, you enter the room, and the noise from the pub, the general noise, seems to quiet down as the door closes.
Emery just kind of looks around the room, not in a dissimilar way to before, almost as if like looking to see if there's anyone else in the room, kind of like looking under, like kind of glances under the bed, and just kind of like one hand kind of clutches the amulet that they've got, the new amulet with Arthur's sigil on it, and then kind of looks up at Callahan, opens their mouth, and almost kind of like begins the movements to speak, but then Callahan just hears inside of his head again. How was your day, Callahan?
My day was it's fine, buddy. That new that amulet you're wearing, is that to stop him from finding you?
Emery just nods.
Do you think he knows where you are right now? Here in Westreach?
He's in Westreach. I saw him.
You can leave right now if you want.
This amulet will only. Emery kind of looks around. Only for 3 days, and then it won't work.
I can get us as far away from here. 3 days can allow us. But Emrys, I swear to you right fucking now, you're never leaving my side. I'm going to protect you no matter what. What happened there at the end, I can't let that happen again. Not to you.
You don't need to worry about me.
I most certainly don't need to, but I do. You're my best friend, man. I'm not gonna let anyone else hurt you. I know this Dane freak is some powerful archmage, but if he ever tries to lay another hand or tries to take you back to whatever sad shit home he's from, I swear to you, on the honor of myself and everyone else that I fight for, the honor of my own god, that I will protect you.
Emery just kind of looks up at Callahan and is kind of a little bit kind of not crying, but very kind of on the verge of crying, you know, like looking a bit kind of holding it in, just a bit. You're sure that they'll find me?
Have I ever steered you wrong in the past, Em? I'll do my very best to protect you. I will stop at nothing. I'll even go beyond death if I need to save you. You hear?
Emrys nods. Just kind of fidgets a little bit. Looks around the room again.
Hey, come here and give me a hug, alright? Freaking me out being this far. Come on.
Emrys kind of shuffles towards Callahan. Once again, just kind of does a bit of a half hug. Seems a bit kind of like, you know, struggling to put their all into things.
Callan just,
And just kind of
really just like makes a tight embrace and rubs Emerus's back and with one hand top of their head with the other. I'm going to reach out to a few people that I met the other night, some powerful, influential people, and see what they can do for us. See if they have any more of those amulets they might be able to make for you. See if they can do anything for transport. Then I kind of like loose my grip and kind of like hold Emerus by their shoulders and goes, Kyoho, Demir, Terry, they all seem like safe, honorable people. If you want, I can talk to them for you, see where they all stand, see if they want to come with us or not. Or we can go off on our own if you want. It's up to you, I'm good with either.
well, they're nice. Yes, I owe them here, and they all have helped. I don't want them to be hurt. I don't want you to be hurt either.
Don't worry about owing anyone anything. They'll all understand. I'm just thinking safety in numbers, and the more people who understand where you're coming from, the better, you know?
Emrys nods.
Doesn't have to be the case, of course. If you want, you can sleep on it. I know you're sharing a room with whoever. If you want to ask Demir to swap beds real quick, I can stay up and keep an eye on things for you. Make sure no one comes knocking. And I make the hand gesture that I make whenever I'm about to summon the bat.
Emrys kind of half smiles, but kind of quickly goes away. If you could talk to them, then maybe, but this amulet, Emrys kind of squeezes the amulet again. It's only good for 3 days. If to hide me more, I'll need to go back. Emrys kind of chokes on their words a bit, saying that.
Well, it's a good thing that isn't on the itinerary, huh?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Callahan, do you go back to the others?
Does Emrys look like they're going to go with Callahan?
Um, Emery seems hesitant to follow Callahan, but Emery's also if Callahan like goes to move, like if Callahan goes to go downstairs on his own, Emery's will kind of like Emery's kind of moves to follow Callahan, but then kind of seems reluctant to leave the room as well.
Callahan probably just makes an effort to say, like, I'm not going to go unless you're fine with going with me. Like, I'm not going to leave you alone in this scenario. Not a chance.
Yes, just I'll talk to you while you're down. All of this has been everything that Emery has been saying has been telepathic.
Callahan
Right.
would have verbally mentioned everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as Callahan kind of leaves the room, he won't hear Emery's kind of speak up much, but probably through experience, Callahan knows that he's still kind of connected telepathically to Emery's at the moment.
Yeah.
It lasts 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, it lasts a while. Can't
Yeah.
remember how long
So,
it is.
Callahan, you go downstairs. It's been a few minutes, and the other three, the two orcs and the dwarf, you see Callahan return alone downstairs.
How are they doing?
Not. Did Emrys come down with Callahan?
No. You're
Emery-
just mentally
Emery's-
linked.
Yeah, Emery stayed in the room, but you were mentally linked with Emery still.
It's not. Emrys cannot hear you if you speak, but you can still communicate with Emrys mentally
Yeah,
if you want.
you can send telepathic messages to Emery.
Gotcha. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was the case where Emrys was there, but was only communicating. That's grand. Yeah, guys, it's myself and Emrys. We're gonna leave. Might be by this evening. Might be tomorrow morning, depending on how well they can get their bearings. Do any of you guys want to come with, or
You're not gonna leave. Not letting you leave. You're not gonna run away, Calhan. Not you, not Emrys, not everyone. That prick. That excuse. That sad excuse of a man. He has it coming. And if no one else is going to give him, then what is it?
remember, Terry? Do you remember back in the forest with that white bird that Emrys was scared for their entire life about?
Yes.
Whoever's bird that is scares Emrys more than anything. And apparently they're here in Westreach. And knowing that there won't be a single second that Emrys will be here for, that they are not terrified for. I'm not going to be able to live myself letting them stay in that environment. I'm getting them out of there.
That changes things.
If you guys want to stay here in Westreach, we're doing good work here. We're helping the people get their bearings after that Windscar attack. And I turn to Demir and you're right. Like, we should. It's the morally right thing to do, but I can't let Emrys stay in this city with that monster in it. Because I know for a damn fact that I'm not strong enough to be able to take them down.
But why don't we take care of that monster as well?
If he's someone strong enough that Arthur Dane can't just wipe out himself, he has to be strong. There's no doubt in my mind that this guy is something else. Not to mention Emrys is beyond powerful with their magic skills. Demir, I remember trying to figure it out with yourself, and we're both spellcasters, you know?
I have some options, not both related to staying here and to, as you said, fleeing and going elsewhere. When once Emrys, of course, is of right mind, it might be best to discuss those things. But in the meantime, I need to know, Callahan, did Arthur give Emrys anything?
Arthur gave Emrys this little pendant that they didn't go into detail, but I'm going to presume it stopped someone from finding him.
Would it be amiss of me to check the item? Because I'm afraid that even if it's meant to prevent Albion from locating Emrys, it very well could be that Arthur is still able to track her every movement, and if leaving set him off, that could be very, very, very bad. I would just need to have some time with the item, as well as just arcanely check up on Emrys in general and see if I can make sure that even such an option would be possible, because worst comes scenario, Emrys tries to leave and Arthur just is there immediately, not even 3 days or however long.
I'd even consider that. Would that be alright? Emrys, they're up in our room right now. I'll let them know, and Callan taps the side of his head. I gotta run out. I'm gonna check to see if I can procure some passage for the two of us. Remember Baron Gross? Just go see if he's if he's sad enough to remember who I am, and hopefully help. God, this is also fucked up. Kyoho Terry, I don't know if you're able to get our things from. I'm drawing a
David.
blank on the guy. Davey. If that'd be great. That'd be a start. If you guys are fine for coming, Kyo, I know you've got a bunch of shit going on with whoever that one guy was. Someone said your brother?
Yeah. That is not a pressing matter for me, I think.
I guess before I ask any of you guys to do things, I know I'm already jumping the gun a little, but would any of you be willing to come with us? I know this is a lot, considering we've only known each other for, what, a month and a half? But I trust you guys for sure.
I think we should definitely have Demir look at the thing that Arthur gave Imrus. Because if Arthur can track that, running away won't do us any good. And without that, this Albion would be able to find us, which also wouldn't do us any good.
Mohan, why don't we go to the Court of Mol and explain it to them? You saw how Emrys is. That's got to be against some code, right?
Would I know if that's against any codes of Maul?
Roll of religion.
What if I roll perception? How would that
To look at your clothes and find the rules.
one of them is a +10 and the other one's a +2. I'm kind of more inclined to the
Oh well.
We
Can I
are we're
can I
well
perceptively
established
holy
that
text?
we're well established that Demir also knows a great deal about the Court of Mal.
The
Yeah,
mirror,
we all
you
do.
can roll religion because you do in fact have a great deal of knowledge on the Court of Mal. Go ahead.
Told you should have read that book of all. Let's
Mine's
go.
not as good. Oh, at least it's better than Callahan's.
Okay.
Can I use my hero point, please?
You can. You definitely can.
Ooh, right off the bat.
All right, there you go.
I'm leaving. I'm
Nice.
heading out, boys.
Well,
later.
you got the one out of the way.
That's
That's
famous
not how
last
probability
words.
works.
Famous last words.
It's totally how it works. That die is cursed, and now you know not to roll that
I
imaginary
preach
die
the Maul
anymore.
religion every session. We are talking well over 19 weeks. We've been talking to each other for like 4 or 5 months. I get a natural 1.
Yeah.
Callahan is like trying to read the back of his shirt to see like, let's see.
No, here's the thing. Callahan is so distraught by what happened that your thoughts are just too jumbled.
I just fucking forget my religion. I'm like, oh, whoops.
No, you don't forget your religion, but the details of all of the laws of Mal just.
I worship a guy called Ball, I think. Is that right?
Plus, there's the
Maybe
fact.
he's tall,
Plus, there
or
is
is
the
he small?
there is the fact. There's also the fact that you are not an inquisitor. You never trained for the actual laws. You're a worshiper of
Yeah.
Mal. It's different.
That's a fair point. I literally just fucking one day was like, you know what? I'm a Maul guy. Let's go.
Yeah. So anyway, Demir, causing according to the rules, causing bodily harm is not okay with Mal. This level of harm that is not done by the Inquisition on perpetrators is not it's not approved. It's heavily frowned upon.
So it's okay if you have a certificate for it.
Yes.
Okay.
If you are on a holy quest of sorts, that's cool. Anyway, however, if Emeris consented to it, there's nothing they will do they will do about it.
What is Maul's view on coercion? Because while Emrys did technically consent to this, it was under external pressure that could be considered to take away the
freedom of
actual
choice.
ability to decide.
There might
Exactly.
be there might be some information, some more detailed information on the topic, but the mere it's beyond your grasp.
I'm not exactly sure that this, given the circumstances, that this would necessarily charges would hold up, give or take, considering that this was a part of some agreement that the two came together with, although at least it would rouse some further questions regarding Arthur, and regardless, I think we have mentioned already, I think perhaps Callahan can go talk to his contacts, I can go check up on Emrys, and I suppose Kyoho and Terry, if you could recruit the rest of our stuff, then we can meet back here shortly and continue
Yes,
to investigate our options.
As I said earlier, there's a lot going on here, and it is quite a tangle to unmess.
Absolutely, which is why I think we should at least be able to be in the position where we're able to make the best decision. If it comes to it that leaving is good, then the sooner the better. And if not, then we at least need to have all our options out on the table before we decide what's next.
We
But
can
for now,
still go with a plan of incriminating Arthur.
Yes, I understand that's one of our options on the table. Excuse me, I'm a little worried about Demir's just gonna like since Emrys has pinned by themselves for a while, Demir's gonna like go right up to his
Okay.
room.
So Callahan goes to try to find Gross. We'll deal with that once once Dusk returns. Meanwhile, Terry and Kyoho, you're gonna get all your shit, which is a lot because remember you still have the dragon parts
Yep.
to carry. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of stuff to carry. But
Yep.
you're an Oni, you're a dwarf, you got this. And in the meantime, Demir, you head upstairs and you go find Emerus.
So
Are you all right?
when Demir kind of opens the door, they'd see Emra's kind of looking very kind of alert and kind of backed up against the back wall, but kind of and looking towards the door that's opening, but kind of relaxes a bit when they see it's Demir.
How are you doing?
Emery doesn't answer immediately because Callahan will hear a message for when he's back, which just says, "I'm going to talk with Demir now."
Actually, at this point, the 5 minutes would have gone,
All right.
would have been gone. So
In that case, Demir hears a message in his head. Still after a little moment, just hello, Demir.
Demir's gonna answer telepathically back. Not out of the blood to Callahan. I would like to cast some magic to see if I understand Arthur gave you something. I would like to discern its true nature as well as see if there's anything else of note that he might have spells or objects that he might have lingered you. I'm afraid you might be wearing a wire, so to speak. It's an old expression of my masters. Don't mind it.
This Emrys kind of clutches the amulet when it's brought up. This we cannot damage it. If
I would not be harming the item in any way. I would simply be using my arcane powers to determine its true nature. If it truly is doing what Arthur told you it would, and if there's anything else that it does, perhaps means to track you specifically. If this is what I believe is in your best interest, if obviously I won't do it if you do not consent, but
could you close the door first?
oh, sorry, Demir would have closed the door like as soon as he walked in.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, sorry, should have mentioned that.
Then Emrys kind of Emrys is very careful not to like take the amulet off, just kind of holds out, it's still around their neck, but kind of holds out a little bit. Kind of still keeps it quite close. Just kind of looks up to Demir. Doesn't move though, just kind of stays in the corner.
All right. So the first things I'll be doing is I will be actually doing a. I'm going to ritual cast detect magic and see if there's anything besides the amulet or like for instance, like anything that Emerson usually is carrying that is radiating magic. And then I'm going to ritual cast identify on the amulet as well as anything else that like pops up that's suspicious.
So first you're going to cast detect magic.
Yes.
Okay. When you cast detect magic, one thing pops out to you immediately. There's a void right in front of you where Emrys is. You usually feel some kind of magic from Emrys with the dagger and whatnot, but there is just a void there. Not even the amulet. You're not picking up anything.
Right. Then I will just be casting detect magic on the amulet. Alright, so not detect magic, identify.
Okay. You start casting identify. But then something weird happens. You usually, when you cast identify, you look at it, you look at an object or something, and you keep it in mind, and you cast a spell. But as you're casting it, it's almost like you can't focus on a target, because it's almost like there is no target to focus on.
I don't want to interrupt. I don't know if this changes what you would say, but identify is actually a touch spell, so you need to touch the object.
Yes, but even then, it doesn't.
I don't want to interrupt. Just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah. But you touch it, but it's almost like you're not registering anything. You do know, Demir, identify is a divination spell. As is detect magic. And if this is an object that cuts off all divination magic, you won't be able to identify it or detect it in any way.
But there's no way I would know that it necessarily blocks all divination magic, just that my divination magic.
Yes, your divination magic. That's basically what you realize, that your divination magic, what you're casting, is not working because of whatever this thing is. But you can now roll an Arcana to see what you can surmise from the whole thing, or you can study it. All right, a 15. First of all, you've actually seen something similar. The symbols are not the same, but you've seen something similar. Your own master actually had a similar necklace. A lot more elaborate, but the sigil, while it didn't have Arthur's mark on it, it had the same similar inscriptions. And you do know that it is an amulet of proof against divination. It is an amulet that completely blocks out any and all forms of divination. But this one has been altered. This one has Arthur's seal on it. And this one is clearly not as well made as your master's. Probably why it only lasts for a few days. But you get the distinct impression that this symbol of Arthur isn't necessary for the spell.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Alright. So speaking telepathically, what's our with Emrys? Alright, well, I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that it seems that this is indeed blocking all sorts of divination. At least that I can surmise. It seems that he was at least truthful in that regard.
Emrys kind of relaxes a little bit hearing that. Kind of, you see the kind of they didn't like say anything during these. It would have taken 20 minutes to ritual cast both of those. Emrys didn't say anything during that time, unless like asked. But they would have been quite kind of, they wouldn't have given Demir the amulet. They would have like held it and made sure it was still always around the neck. And they would have been kind of glancing about the room sometimes. But a little bit of that seems to go away, just a little bit, when Demir says that.
However, while I'm not able to, because of that, I can't exactly, through pure magical means, given the exact nature of my spells of being divination and sorts, I can't say for 100% certainty that what else this magic does. Specifically, I'm familiar with my master had an amulet like this and more powerful, and it definitely doesn't contain what I surmise to be Arthur's seal on it. And while I will be completely forefront with you, I cannot be this for certain, but my summation is that there, as I feared, there is a means for Arthur specifically to know your location, or at least the location of this particular amulet. And whether that means also that he's able to potentially listen in or scry, or if it's just simply he knows where it is, I don't know, but it seems that there is a sort of backdoor for Arthur and Arthur alone, or at least anyone who is able to properly know the inner workings of this seal and this particular amulet.
Emrys just kind of nods a little bit.
I understand that this is terrible. I know you're in no state to think about things, but I know that Callahan is apparently already is trying to make plans to leave, for instance. And whether, my fear that I expressed is that if you tried to leave, then Arthur would immediately know and try and immediately track you down. There's many things that could happen. He could simply take you back and lock you up for good. He could decide you're not worth the trouble and decide to fulfill his deal with Albion. I'm not quite sure.
Just kind of backs up more against the wall while Demir is saying those things.
I do want to share, and especially once everyone else is here, I want you to understand, first and foremost, before I say anything else, that we, or at least I, and obviously Callahan, are 100% in your corner. I would assume the same would go for Kyoho and Terry, and I know neither of them have much love for Arthur, and I just want you to know that we're here for you. We would, though we may not have only met some weeks ago, we have your back. And I want you to know that we do have some options available for us, if you would like to hear them.
Thank you, Demir. This amulet, it will only work for 3 days. So
I understand. Let me get right to it, I suppose. For starters, our old friend, or well, obviously I use friend in the very sarcastic sense, but your Silver, who had originally contacted us and met up with us after we had defeated Sketch and were investigating their hideout the day after. As you might recall, he works for a very, very powerful employer. And as part of that employer, we got there was the person who came to investigate on their behalf at the party. They approached Terry and I after we left, and they gave us a proposition, or I don't really want to say proposition. We were more or less strong-armed and threatened into it, much like before, with thinly veiled, would it be a shame if this were to happen, and stuff like that, which we're already seeing the consequences, but I digress. What they told us to do was simple. We have means, or at least will continue to have means, of incriminating Arthur for the murder of the Duke. Now, I say that with our belief afterward.
Emery's eyes kind of go a little bit wide. Seems quite stunned.
Now, I say that with the understanding and the belief that, based on what the rest of us were able to discuss late last night after the party, when it seems that Arthur is the father of the Duchess's unborn child. Furthermore, from what I gathered from the group, is that Arthur is a noble bastard of himself, and therefore doesn't perhaps carry as much political weight among the nobility as he might desire. He's also very much a person to hold a grudge, as I think we can all agree and have seen firsthand by now. He obviously has his business with you, but he also has quarrels with myself, with Yoho, Callahan, Terry, pretty much everyone. He's not very well liked, and the point being is, I think we all kind of at least strongly believe in the possibility that Arthur could have indeed enraged this assassination, that his goal was to take out the Duke so that his unborn son would eventually become Duke himself, and through that means he would be able to exert greater influence over the nobility and over the town of Westreach. Now, whether that means it would involve him being forthright with his son about his noble blood, or if it would be involving some sort of arcane magic that acts upon it, I'm not entirely sure. And the point being is that it is very much a strong possibility. And with speaking with this investigator for your Suffer's employers, I'm not the best at reading people, admittedly, but I at least got the impression that they too believe that Arthur could very well be the person behind it, but that at the very least, they want to be able to investigate it further on their own terms, not having to worry about the city or the Court of Maul or anyone else. could very well be that they were behind it all, although that's not the impression I got. But the point remains that it is very likely that Arthur at the very least has strong motivation for carrying this out, and by all means has the funds and the ways to try and keep it from coming back to him. And that these powerful employers have basically put it upon us to help frame him, with the idea that he would be tried and dead within a week. And when they approached me with this, and one of my foremost concerns was your own safety, and they did seem to. They basically told me that I wouldn't need to worry about how Arthur had been promising you protection, and that if he was gone, he could no longer offer it. They told me not to worry about that. But even in such a situation, that brings us to my second idea, and that something that would have been more of an option had I not surmised about this Arthur being able to track you. But if we are understanding and taking Arthur at his word, and it seems that his word is good given this amulet, at least in that regard, Albion is not very skilled in divination magic. And Arthur at least is able to protect you from him. However, Albion is also... he clearly cares about finding you above all cost, which is why he requested such a favor from Arthur to begin with, despite putting him in his debt. It's very possible that should he grow discontent with how Arthur is handling things and going about finding you, and if he knows he himself is not able to properly divine your location, it is quite possible that he simply goes to someone else to do the job. Perhaps another archmage, one that specializes in divination magic, specifically Archmage Kera. I don't know too much about this individual myself, beyond the fact that my master seems to have wronged them in some way, but it is quite possible that he would seek their help, and that their divination prowess would be able to even peer beyond Arthur's protections. Even if we were to, for instance, go through with this framing job and take care of Arthur and perhaps procure an amulet that permanently would protect you, it is quite possible that this archmage could find a way around it. So that being said, if we were to...
very kind of... Emery seems a bit more agitated. Looks around the room a bit more.
So this all being said, like I said, it seems as if Arthur will know perhaps the minute that you try and step foot out of Westreach or go out of his grasp. If we were able to deal with him in this manner I laid out previously, and perhaps at the very least, or ideally, be able to maybe procure for yourself some further divination protection, at least for the trip over, we could make it then a high priority to first and foremost get out of this city and distance ourselves and seek out Kera, and perhaps, to be completely honest, like I said, I don't know if I can't imagine they're any worse than Arthur, and knowing that you would willingly submit yourself to Arthur's protection to escape from Albion, I can't imagine he's much better, if not far worse. But it is possible that we could at least seek out the Archmage and procure their assistance or protection, that they perhaps would be easier to deal with, more willing, or at least not outright hostile. And if in such a situation, that would ideally be able to permanently shield you from Albion's gaze. And at such a point, if that means that we would be afraid of him doing the same, trying to find known associates like ourselves and try and use his magic to determine our location and therefore you, I mean, perhaps at that point, some sort of amicable split up would be less preferable, but I digress. I know this is a lot to take in, especially since you have no tribe mind. I just wanted to let you know that from my standpoint, personally, I believe that we need to, like I said, we were more or less strong-armed into this agreement to frame Arthur. Obviously, the reason they approached us was because you had access to his house, to his home abode, and that even if you didn't, we could perhaps, through Kyoho, perhaps acquire other entrance and other means. But so even if you do not wish to partake in it, I think that we more or less have, at least Terry and myself, have no choice but to go through with it. Once we do, and hopefully alleviate at least that concern of having this vengeful prick of an abjuration archmage out of no longer able to harm you, we could then seek other protection from Albion. Alternatively, we could, as Callahan mentioned, we could simply hope for the best and leave and perhaps find or get to Kara before Arthur is notably tipped off or tracks you down. I'm not entirely sure. There's not many good options available. And I don't expect you to come to a conclusion or anything of the sorts right now. I just wanted you to have all the possible facts on the table and to once again, with the utmost sincerity, let you know that at the very least, out of our party, Callahan and I we have your backs 100%. And I believe the same would be said for Kyoho and Terry. I know Terry himself is fully on board with this plan of what we were tasked to do regarding Arthur, and I'm sure Kyoho seemed a little bit uneasy about the whole thing, but I just want you to know that you do have allies in this, and that whatever Arthur did to you, I swear that he will pay, and that he will never subject you to that again. Not if I can have any say about it. Whatever it takes.
Thank you. Thank you, Demir. I don't want to go back to Arthur. Emrys kind of starts tearing up a little bit. I don't want. But
Demir's just gonna step forward and just hug her, bring Emerson to a hug, and just not say anything, not telepathically say anything, just be there.
Emrys just kind of sniffles softly, still doesn't kind of say anything. And just kind of weakly hugs Demir back for a while.
Right. Maybe we can then. Yes, switch over to. Let's go with Kyoho and Terry. You guys made your way to David's tailor
Yep.
thing, shop. Yes, I don't know why I forgot the name shop, the word shop. You guys made your way back to David's, and along the way, you do hear a lot of talk. Seems like the Duke's murder has been, for the lack of a better word, the talk of the town. The most interesting topic for everyone at the moment, as every corner you take, someone is talking, speculating, lots of speculating, lots of theories, but most of it is just peasants talking about things they probably do not know the whole details. But you do make it to David, and he does have your stuff, which you promptly equip, meaning your normal attires with your armors and whatnots, if you have them.
What is this armor you speak of?
Yes, it is thing that lesser beings have to wear. Yes, but you recover all your stuff, and you start making your way back. And as you make your way back, no one really bothers you, but you do notice one thing. There's a heightened guard. There's more guards in the streets of the City Watch, and a lot more eyes in the surrounding area. It would appear that, from what you hear, the assassin has not been caught yet, and
No, of course he hasn't.
yes, the assassin has not been caught yet, and there are rumors that a high bounty is going to be put on his head. A very high bounty. But for now, it's all rumors, and you make your way back. A question. Dusk, are you here?
Had to be RB.
I don't think he is.
Yeah,
He,
yeah,
he
BRB.
said be right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, but the two quietest characters went on a simple fetching mission. It's
Yeah, no, it's
yeah, I know.
it's logical. This happens.
Yeah.
Not that you were just getting your stuff, so you did get your stuff.
Greatest foe going outside.
Great. I'll go grab the stuff. There is no time. Your sword is enough.
But yeah, you all return, and you all return to the room, and Demir and Emrys, Terry and Kyoho return with all your stuff, all the things that you left behind at David. Isn't that nice?
Emry's
I
kind
count the dragon part. Make sure they're all there.
Yep.
That's fair.
Do we
They're
have,
all there.
How many rooms do we have? Do we have like a couple of rooms?
You have, if I remember correctly, Terry, weren't you like sleeping on the floor?
I think so.
Yeah, so you have two rooms. You have one room for Emrys and Kyoho, and one room for Callahan and Demir, which Terry makes himself a guest of.
Emrys will kind of like Emrys will take their clothes and just kind of like quietly go to the room that people aren't in.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're in. Assuming everyone went to where Emrys is, that means that everyone's in Emrys and
Demir's room,
Kyoho's
yes.
So yeah, Emrys goes to Demir's room and just changes into their usual clothes.
Okay. All right.
Or yeah, just kind of changes into their usual clothes.
All right. Demir, all your stuff is back. So you can
Anything else I missed?
No, pretty much they just went to get your stuff. So all the stuff that you left at David's, now you have again.
All right.
And Emrys did go to another room to get dressed, but other than that, kind of just waiting for Dusk to return.
Mir's in the meantime going to change back to his normal clothes that he is much more comfortable in.
I would assume so.
Same.
Yes.
Kyoho will also change back into her normal outfit, but I'm too lazy to erase the goldfish kimono on the roll 20.
Oh, I'm definitely redrawing mine.
Oh no!
I don't
Oh,
want to
but
rob
your
the world of
skirt
those
is so
goldfish.
beautiful. Well, it looks. You look cute. You look cute, honey.
It's a cute mono. I'm sorry, I feel bad.
All right. So, Dusk.
Okay, out of character, my dog is teasing me. She opened the door somehow, and now she's teasing me to go play in the kitchen where the food just happens to be.
Ah, of course. She's a dog. She's not dumb. All right. So you honestly,
Yeah,
Probably Emrys might kind of linger a while in the other room.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of in case. Well, up to you guys if anyone notices how long Emrys is taking.
I'm gonna give them
actually-
the time they need.
when Terry is changing back, he grabs a small envelope out of his pocket, and he seems surprised that it is still there, but he just stares at it, opens it, and begins to read it.
All right. All right. So.
Emrys does eventually return to their room.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like pushes the door open very slowly and kind of peeks inside before going inside, closes the door behind them very slowly. And just kind of wherever everyone is, Emrys kind of like moves to sit in like the opposite corner.
All right. Very well. All right. Since Dusk's adventure, Callahan's adventure will be set aside. So I assume you wait for Callahan to return, right? Oh, there we go. Callahan returns.
Callahan return, baby. Let's go.
Yes.
In time.
The
Just-
second coming.
The second coming of Callahan. All right, Callahan. It is your turn. So you went out to find Gross, was it?
Yes.
All right. So
I believe Gross gave me his estate, or he kind of gave me an idea of where he lived.
he gave you an idea where he lived, which is not in town.
All right, well then I fucking leave town. Let's go.
It is not. Okay. You have an idea from your conversation because you did talk with him for a while. It is about a day away from town. However, Gross, if you remember correctly, was at the party last night. So You don't know if he went back or if he's still around or what's going on.
Can I ask and or sink a little bit of coinage to find out what happened?
Where do you want to ask, and who do you want to ask?
I don't think there's any named NPCs left other than the likes of Frankie. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm kind of at a loss here.
There's the tailor.
There's the tailor. You can also go to the palace, try to ask around there.
Ooh, where the dead
There was
can
guy
ask
that
the
like
guards?
Russian there was that halfling like grandmother type
Yeah, you know,
lady.
you made loads of
Oh
friends.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've got that date with Natasha.
Mm-hmm. There's
I'm
Natasha.
gonna.
She's in town. There's also the dwarf.
Nah, fucking, I'm hanging out with Natasha. She gave me her address. She gave me her number. Let's
Yep.
go.
All right. So you head to Natasha's estate, and when you get there, you do notice it is a not, how should I put it? It's not a super lavish mansion. It is a very large house, very in the very rich part of town. And as you arrive, there is a gate and a man that stands there, and you notice this man is a halfling, like Natasha. Then you start looking inside with your ungodly passive perception, and you notice every member of the staff is a halfling. This halfling in armor looks at you and narrows his eyes and goes, "Hello, what do you want?"
Oh, hey, that voice again.
Hi, how you doing? My name's Callahan Dirge, cleric of Maul. I'm here looking for a lady by the name of Natasha. Fuck, I didn't take any surname down. Fucking great job, mate.
He narrows
Do I
his.
know? Would I have known her surname at all?
I
I just
think.
given a surname, or just a first name rather.
She. I don't think she actually used her last name. She just told you Natasha.
God, why do I never ask for a full
Yeah.
name? All my notes are just first names.
He.
I mean, to be fair, it kind of suits Callahan.
Callahan would be on a
It
first
does.
name basis with everyone.
Yeah.
God damn.
Exclusively
It's like-
first name, no last names.
No one. He doesn't actually know anyone in his entire party's last name. He just knows his own.
I bet he doesn't know Emery's last name.
Emrys, somewhere there. I don't know.
So the guard narrows his eyes again. You wish to talk to Miss Rostropovich?
God damn it, Rand. I just spelled that one.
Yeah, massive. How do you spell that one?
Like that.
That's actually. I wouldn't mind. You were. If I were to guess, that would be bang on what I was going to write down.
There you go. Good. All right. Yeah, yeah. Well, you wish to talk to Miss Rostropovich?
Yes.
Oh.
I have a request for her, and we are on good terms. We actually hung out at this party last night. I don't know if you heard. It was a big fiasco, and we're chill.
He looks you up and down, seeing your attire. Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure if you ask her based on what I'm dressed like, she'll more than likely remember who I am. And that's a dirge for Callahan Dirge.
I will ask. I will send someone. And you see him turn around and ask for one of the maids. The
If you
maids.
could hurry with that, I'm in a massive rush. I really don't mean to harpen upon your vibe.
Well, sir, you will wait for when the lady is available. You understand this?
No, I understand. I'm just making sure you understand.
Good, I guess.
Yeah, great, I guess.
Good,
Great.
good.
Great. Oh my god, this guy. You are
You
really doing
stand there for a while, and a few minutes later,
saying good and great. Is that what we're doing?
yep. And a few minutes later, a butler, also a halfling, approaches. Greetings, Miss Rostropovich. We'll see you now. And at this moment, you do see the guard stand at attention and give you a salute as you pass by.
I try and match his salute, and then I'm like, "What's your name, man?"
Oh, my name is Blood.
Vlad what? What's your surname?
Blood Lopovich.
God damn it. Alright. Vlad Vladovich?
Yes.
And can I ask what your job title is?
And your social security number.
Your mother's maiden name.
And what was
Make
the
of
name
your
of the
first card.
first pet that you've ever had? Thanks.
The street
I
you grew up on.
I am guard. I am Miss Rostropovich guard.
Alright, man, because I'm going to be sure to, by name, reference you with the lady.
Okay, put in good word, yes?
Oh, I'm going to put in a great word for you.
Good,
And I
good.
follow along.
Okay, so you enter the house and you realize this is a big house, but it feels even bigger because everyone inside it is a halfling, so you feel like a giant here. Everyone reaches your waist, basically.
Is it a big house in comparison to a halfling?
It's a normal human house, so all the ceilings are tall. You walk around normally. It doesn't look like it was made for her, for halflings.
All right, I gotcha.
But just the fact that you're here means that you feel so much bigger than everyone else, and you just see the halflings. The ceilings are way tall for them. But anyway, you are escorted into a study where you see the old Miss Restropovich. She is currently actually playing billiards. There is a stool that a manservant is carrying, and every time she wants to use the cue, you see her climb over the stool and strikes, and she looks. Hello, Callahan, was it?
Hey, Natasha, how are things? How are you doing?
She turns to the manservant. Igor, this is the one that I spoke about, the amusing fella. The manservant just nods. What can I do for you, Callahan?
So give me just 2 seconds to take down a note. Hey, geez, I'm actually just done talking to your guard there, Vlad Vladovich. Crazy
Yes.
name. Man, what an absolute ball buster. Everything you probably want from a guard, if I'm being honest with you.
Yes, I suppose. But I assume you're not here to talk about. And she turns around, and you see her strike one of the balls immediately into the pocket. Talk about my guards.
Whoa. Yeah. Look, I'm just gonna be honest with you because I really feel like you respect that more than anything else about me. Is how painfully honest I can be. I God, I really don't know how to ask this one. I my situation has changed very drastically in the 12 to 18 hours since you last saw me, to an incredible extent. Um, my 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 best friend is after getting in over their heads with a bunch of spell slinging cowboys, and they're caught in the middle of things, and we need a way out of West Reach ASAP. I was wondering if you could refer me to any higher tier services or anything like that. I don't want to put you in any difficult scenario or situation. And if you don't know anyone, that's totally fine. Like I'm not going to push you for anything, but I don't know. I felt like reaching out to yourself.
So you require how you say, transportation? Yes. A carriage.
Pretty much in essence, yeah. Carriage. Anyone fast enough to drive us far out of Wimborne.
Oh, and she immediately stops and she comes down from the little stool thing, and she looks up at you. Oh, you wish to not only leave the town city, but also the whole country.
Which, look, when we were talking last night, I was hoping I could show you around Westreach, show you all my favorite spots, and in an ideal world, you might have even adopted me, and we could totally have like this dope ass relationship, and we would like have this cool bond, and you'd make me cookies, and I would like recite some words of Mall or some shit. But from what's after happening, I don't think I can stay in this kingdom anymore. This whole entire affair is just, it's too much for my buddy, you know, and I can't live with myself if I put them through anything more.
Let me guess. Your problem is with Arthur Dane.
It goes beyond Arthur Dane now. I thought, honest to God, like I thought Arthur Dane was probably the worst person in the city. And if you had asked me yesterday at that party, I would have 100% confirmed it. But there's a monster that is well beyond anything that Arthur could ever manage. And that is saying a lot.
Is that so? Tell me about this monster.
Are you sure?
Of course, I like to know about dangers in city.
How familiar are you with, I want to say, the archmages of this city?
I know Arthur.
And beyond the city?
I know, how you say, there is one archmage for each school of magic. The top, the best. Yes?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I'm figuring, yeah. The whole upper echelon there. Yeah. Have you come into contact with many of them yourself, or?
Yes. I had a friend.
Tasha, I'm worried. I don't know who your friend is, and if your friend is the person that I'm most worried about, I don't want to make you implicit.
F- My friend, I have not seen her in a long time.
I'm I'm honestly, I feel like I'm out of my depth here. I don't know if saying his name will cause anything to happen, or if eyes will be drawn to us.
Saying a person's name is not, not going to call. Superstition, yes.
That's pretty much what my entire power base is based off of. Superstition.
I see. Well, if you wish to leave the city, maybe something can, fixed. Yes?
Ideally, unless you have unless you know any powerful illusionist or whatever.
I do. My friend. But I have not spoken to it her for, he
Your
starts
friend.
counting in a language you don't understand. 20 years.
Your friend's name isn't Ilya Volchnik by any chance, is it?
No. I have not heard that name.
Thanks, Harvey. Oh shit, that took me out of it. Who can I ask the name of your friend?
Ah, yes, Natalia
I know
Semenova. She's quite well known in Kelios.
if you'd be able to spell it for me, that'd be a big shout. Thank you. GM is typing.
Thank you, the
Wait,
MGM.
Massive should just assume he needs to type out.
No, I do.
I feel so bad.
It's-
I'm always asking.
Listen. I've been DMing for what, 7 years? Huh, Terry? I've always had to spell it out for my players.
And what is she the Archmage of illusions? Is it?
Yes.
Well, what on earth is Ilya the Archmage of? I thought I had this down. I thought she was
Conjuration.
dicks. Fuck. Okay. I thought I was being smart here and everything. I was like connecting all these dots and shit in my head. Drats.
I cannot help you find Natalia.
That's fair enough. I mean, if you're not able to, like, I imagine she's off in the old continent, which only helps us so much, I guess, you know?
I do not know.
But if I'm trying to get over to the other continent, or the other kingdom that isn't Windborn, which is called.
Well, I know the Northern Kingdom Glarion and Wolgate? You're not speaking Oni. Oh, I do not recall the name of their island.
Yeah, I know what it's called. It's called Onigashima. I'll be honest. Wolgate is where I'm from. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, but I'm trying to go to somewhere where I can protect my friend, and I don't know if I can protect them if I'm looking over my own shoulder. So maybe Clarion. Do you
Clarion. Dangerous. Indeed.
In what way? Politically or just hard to survive?
Yes. And she smiles at you. Clarion. I really wish you knew how to speak my tongue. I've heard Clarion, they have slaves. If you are not human. Strong, empire? Tetrarchy, yes.
Techrachri?
Tetrarch... Tech... My common is not as good. Tetrarchy.
What does that mean?
Ah.
At googledictionary.com?
It has 4 rulers.
Oh, okay. I thought they worshipped machines or some shit. I was like, oh Jesus, techno crarchy. So that's a techrarchy?
Tetrarchy.
Tetra. Crazy. Oh my god.
Yes.
God damn, Massive. Once again, you are stifling me. You're really just spoiling us for choice in terms of what hellhole you're gonna bring us to next.
Well, world's a dangerous place. What do you want me to say?
Oh, this is beyond dangerous, man. 4 people, 4 kings. Oh god damn.
4 emperors, actually.
4 emperors?
Yes.
Lads, we all know what's going on here. What are the names? How many? What color are their beards? Tell me that.
I do not know much about Clarion, unfortunately. But getting through the border might cost a lot of money or, well, dangerous paths. Unless you want to brave the wilds to the west, I would not advise that.
No. I have a feeling that a certain homebrew rule set is really going to fuck us over that.
I hear the Pathfinders are good for that.
Shut the fuck up, man! God damn you! And Onigashima, what's the most direct path there?
I
If I were
would
to avail of any services that you know.
I would not. I would assume a boat to Wallgate. Then find way to Onigashima. And you know from experience from living in Wallgate that finding a boat that will take you to Onigashima, not great. And then there's the fact that Oni actively take humans as slaves. It's a little detail.
Would they take myself as a slave, considering my past?
Oni in Onigashima do not give a shit about Wallgate.
And is there any way to reach Wallgate without taking a boat or without going through Onigashima?
Do you have wings? No, what? Okay, you can get to you can get to Wallgate without going through Onigashima.
Okay.
You to get to Onigashima, there's no boats from the continent that go to Onigashima. So you'll have to find something in Wallgate.
Okay, well, I'm probably not trying to go to Onigashima. Unless that's where the plot is trying to take us to.
Well, that's where you're gonna go. The plot is where you want to go.
Well, that doesn't help me on the slightest.
If you wish for help transportation, I can arrange for something.
That would be beyond brilliant. I'm more than happy to offer recompense, and if I don't have enough, I'm more than happy to offer my own services to any end that you may have. It's just we're on this timer. My friend has an amulet that offers them 3 days worth of protection from the individual looking for them, and
My dear, and she puts a hand on your arm. You look like someone in trouble. I wish to help.
thank you.
Think
I wish
nothing
this
of it.
conversation could go any other way, and that me and you at this point would be munching down a bunch of croissants or some other
Looks very
random
confused at you.
or some other pastries, like a bagel, if you will. Um, it's a weird one trying to get to Oni Gaoshimasu.
Is that where you want to go?
That'd probably take me as a slave and my friend, but it'd almost be better. Wolgate, it's too dangerous for me. Onigashima, our party is composed of two Oni members. I guess that might be the best way as we try and figure out and develop a way to disguise ourselves, either magically or
Tell you what,
hopefully not otherwise.
you discuss it with your friends. I will be happy to help once you have a decision.
Thank you. I
Do
appreciate
not
that.
worry.
I know it, coming from myself, it may not seem like much, but if there is ever any service that you need performed, I ask that you do not hesitate
I will think of
to ask
something
myself.
in time.
Please do. My debt is to you, and my word is my bond. Thank you.
She gives you a nod, then turns around and goes back to her billiards.
I just make like a very like long and large bow towards her before I exit.
Okay. You are escorted out, and I assume you make your way back to the inn?
Yes.
You are now at the inn, where as you enter, actually, you see everyone gathered there waiting for you, and all your equipment that you left at David's place.
Including your lame old clothes, which are far inferior to what you
But
currently have.
but there is armor involved.
I would like to place my magic armor all over myself and really just smooth stuff. I don't feel like I deserve the Malbook outfit anymore.
Okay,
But I am curious. Can I add it to my inventory?
you
Or
can.
is it more of like a rental sort of situation?
Oh, we bought
no, yeah, no, you bought it. Those outfits are yours.
Oh, class. Do I get like a bag for it or something to keep it crisp?
It fits. No, it fits in your backpack, and that's it.
My priest pack. Oh no.
It's big enough. So yeah,
Never
you
mind
arrive.
that fancy kimono.
There we go. So you basically have fancy your party clothes. But yes, you arrive and you see everyone is sitting there.
Emmerich
Hey
is kind of in the
guys.
corner.
Can I take everyone to somewhere quiet if that is okay?
You are in the room, so it's quiet.
Oh, we're in the
Yeah.
room.
Yes,
Oh,
you're
I'm
in the room because Emrys is not leaving that room.
Nope, perfect. That's my beat. I thought
And
we
it
were-
is, by the way, by the time you get there, it is the middle of the night.
Brilliant.
Well, I think everyone would be. Well, I mean, it depends actually. What's everyone doing? Have people gone to bed?
Well,
Well,
I
we were up through the night due to the assassination at the party, and then slipped through the day. So
yeah. Plus, Callahan wouldn't have taken that long. So actually, he didn't arrive that much longer after Kyoho and Terry.
Okay.
Hey everyone, so I've got some news. It's good. I managed to find us a way out of Westreach, and I can get us out of the country if need be. It's a big favor. It's one of these one-off deals where I'll take us from point A to point B, and that's it. No additional help from there. I didn't want to push anything. Our options are Galarion, Wallgate, or Onigashima.
No.
no,
Why not? No,
That is,
another time.
well, do you like being enslaved?
I can't say I enjoy the thought.
Well, then that's all you really have to know.
But I mean, me and Terry, we never tried it, ain't that right, Tear Bear? And
No, I
sometimes we
can't
play
say I
football.
have, but I mean,
Yeah, it's a
what's
pretty
the other
good
option?
thought. So Galarion also takes slaves. And
Before we
Wallgate.
continue, there is a matter of I was waiting for you to get back on, but where are we actually? Are we in the room or
Yeah, you're in the room.
in
Okay.
the room at the end.
I believe that if Emrys goes anywhere, that Arthur will immediately know. And will have means of tracking her indefinitely.
Well, by indefinitely, I mean, I imagine you mean after 3 days when we dumped that.
The 3 days is when, the best I can surmise based on what Emrys told me from Arthur, is that 3 days is as long as it will take for the protection of the amulet to wear off. But I very much believe that Arthur has his own personal back door, so to speak, to bypass that. That even within that 3-day span would be able to immediately know Emrys's location. Perhaps even what Emrys is doing, what Emrys is hearing, and the sort. And then, of course, after the 3 days, it's open season, so to speak.
What do you mean by that? As in, you can keep following where after they
As in,
moved
before,
after?
as soon as Emrys leaves, I believe Arthur will know where she is, where she's gone, and can act on it. And after 3 days, anyone with the proper magic would be able to determine that, such as Albion or some other wizard or whatever the sorts. The point being is that we would have, at the very least, 3 days to get somewhere out of Arthur's grasp, assuming, of course, that Arthur, well, to be quite frank, let us. Because if he did not want Emrys venturing too far, or had the suspicion that Emrys was specifically moving in such a long distance away to avoid him, then it would stand to reason that he would swoop in, so to speak. But my point being is that while it is certainly still an option, it is very, very risky and not as clear cut and dry. You have to understand we're dealing with a very powerful wizard, and though he may not exactly specialize in divination, that doesn't mean that he's exactly the easiest person to get the slip from out under.
Would my contact knowing the Archmage of Illusion help at all? I'll be honest, I don't know much about the differing schools of magic. I know that I gain spells and shit like that, but I don't know.
Our best
one
bet
school
of trying
trumps
to
another is like a rock paper scissors type of deal, or is it that all spells are equal, but some spells are more equal than others?
our best bet to make sure that Emrys would permanently avoid detection and divination magic would be to go seek the help of Kera, who is the Archmage of Divination, who could. There will be no one better equipped now. I don't know much about this. I'm not familiar, unless I don't right DM. I wouldn't know.
What? About the person?
About where Kera is situated.
Oh, you have no idea?
Arthur is
No.
Westreach. Yeah. I don't know. We would have to do research and seek them out. I'm just saying that would be the. If there's someone who's better at divination, they're probably not on this continent and would have no contact or no way for Albion or Arthur or whoever to really acquire their services. And in other words, if we were able to locate the Kera and basically get her protection from divination magic for Emrys, then that would be the only surefire way to know that Albion would never find her again outside of crossing paths in the local market by happenstance. Like an awkward reunion.
I gotcha.
But like I said, that has its issues as well. It is something that is definitely worth pursuing, but it's definitely not the type that would take within 3 days. And again, that's even assuming that Arthur would let Timris run amok during those 3 days.
I guess in that case, I still feel Westreach is the worst option for us here. Especially for I'm sorry for referring to you in such a blunt sort of term. Look, guys, I think going to Wallgate might be our best bet. Taking up this whole idea of just leaving the place. If, depending on the manner in which we can go and the banner that we ride under, because I have a feeling that we're going to be riding under the banner of a very important figure. I don't believe that Albion could risk assaulting us in any way. Or doing harm, which could lead to some serious negative consequences for them. And I could, and just go. I don't suppose you want to see the house I grew up in and see if my parents are still living there, do you?
Not if we are going to be slaves, no.
Wallgate, pretty chill on the whole no slave sort of deal. They're pretty cool. But when we get there, I might try to keep a lower profile. I'm not well liked, but I'll put up whatever the hell that place throws at me to keep you guys safe. And I know we're doing this to keep them safe, but I'm willing to stick my neck out for each and every one of you guys.
Just clear. Is Emerson in the room with us, or I can't?
Yeah, Emrys is here. Emrys is just kind of
Okay.
quietly sitting in the corner.
Okay, that's what I was confused. Right.
All right.
But yeah, I can also introduce you guys to my parents. They're still alive.
Well, I know we have multiple options laid out before us. I certainly have my preference and what I believe is the best course of action, but at the same time, as far as and Demir's kind of just looking at Terry like a kind of like a I know, but not wanting to say it out loud. But there, Emrys, it really, and again, if you need some to rest on it or whatever, but I really think what you want to do should be what you want to do, and once that decision is made, then the rest of us can figure out our course of actions from there.
Emrys kind of looks to Demir. Hang on, give me 1 second, sorry. Emrys looks to Demir, kind of opens their mouth, and then very kind of suddenly, their eyes go wide, and they kind of like they're already in the corner, but then they kind of like back further into the corner, and just kind of are looking around the room, very, very agitated, like extremely agitated. They're not saying anything.
Do I detect? Can I
You guys just see Emrys starting to freak out of nowhere.
I'd like to cast detect magic, please.
And can I also cast calm emotions, if at all possible?
Ooh. Let's see.
I've had this shit prepared since ever since I got level 2 spells. Let's go.
All right, Emrys.
Yeah.
Do you allow it to be cast on you?
Is
let's see what he's
Demir
saying.
saying what he's doing? Well, is well, I mean, Emrys would
Actually,
know that Callum is casting it.
You know calm emotions, don't you, Emrys?
Remind me.
Don't you have the spell, or didn't you have the spell? Because I remember you had the spell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I do. That's true. Yeah.
If you have the spell, then you recognize that he is.
Have emotions.
I remember that Emrys cast calm emotions on the very first session.
I do have calm emotions.
So Emrys, you recognize that Callahan is casting calm emotions. You recognize the spell.
Emrys allows it to happen then.
Okay, so you actually see Emrys start to calm down. Demir, you cast detect magic, not as a ritual, I assume. Unless you want to cast it as a ritual. Demir?
No, I don't have it prepared. So
Oh, well, then as you're casting as a ritual, Amaris just starts to calm down. Amaris, you do feel like you're calming down.
Yeah, Emrys kind of relaxes a bit. They were kind of like hyperventilating a bit. Their breathing kind of slows.
You can actually focus now.
Yeah. They kind of look towards Demir. Not Demir, sorry. They look towards Callahan. And unlike before, they were kind of like, not really making contact very much, if at all. Mostly looking down. But they kind of look right to Callahan and open their mouth again, but just kind of. And then Callahan hears in his head, I was just contacted by Arthur.
In his head, he says, "What about?"
He wants me to come to his house tomorrow. He says he knows why Albion, why Master Albion wants me.
In the head again, he says, "It's gonna be a massive shame when you're not there, isn't it?"
But if I don't, he'll. And he can find me. This amulet only lasts for 3 days. If I leave, then if I leave without him letting me, then I don't know.
I've got an idea, but it's a bit of a long shot. Would you be willing to let me ask Demir a few questions before we proceed?
Emrys nods.
By the way, it's
Hey,
all been silent message, so nobody else. You all just see the.
Emrys and Callahan was
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if everyone knew what was happening because it's like I imagine it'd be like heavy eye contact.
Yo, there is heavy eye contact. You know they're communicating, but you just don't know the contact, the context.
Out loud, Callahan says, "Hey yo, Big D, I've got some magic questions for you, real quick."
Samir, who's currently ritual casting, is just like, is Emrys okay?
You know, divination magic and the whole scrying nonsense that wizards can do.
Samir, it's probably been it's not been long since he started. Samir just stops his casting and just turns towards Callahan. Like, yes.
Does that work if they think the person is dead? Or if it registers that the person is dead?
Would I would Demir know this or inherently or
Roll an Arcana.
Would anyone know this weird idea that I've only come up with right now? That's my big question.
Roll. Okay, so let's see.
Oh, baby
words.
Demir is no longer an abjuration wizard. He is now a divination wizard, and
Let's see.
But what about Tank Wizard, Arcane Ward?
Oops.
Who needs Arcane Ward when you got that much Arcana?
I'll just use potency to make everyone roll natural ones against me. There we go.
Okay. Also, Emrys, I hear you. All right. Let's see. Okay, you know that scrying can in fact see living creatures. It might, because it targets a creature, it might target the body.
This is a spell that I'm thinking of going for.
So it can still detect Emrys, but it will just see the dead body of Emrys if they were to be, killed.
Depending on the exact spell used, I mean, it's not.
I'm going with
not like-
scrying. I'm going with scrying, which is
Sorry, I was speaking it with like two
Oh,
Callahan,
sorry.
character. No, depending on the precise spell, especially one that I would assume would be used, it wouldn't be so much. It's not like a detect if they're alive. It's basically look upon them and basically see what they're doing and the scene around them. If Imris was dead, then they would presumably just locate and see the dead body and the location it was in. If we were able to make it such that Imris appeared dead, I would assume in that case that Arthur would immediately go to said location, expecting to find a dead body or what appeared to be a dead body, and point blankly retrieve it. But it wouldn't negate any divination magic outright. It would simply... He would just have to assume, it's even possible that he would just assume that Amos was sleeping or was unconscious. It's... Why do you ask?
I could have a spell that could more or less render Emrys as being dead. It wouldn't kill them, obviously. And he turns towards Emrys, being like, "You're totally fine. You're not gonna die." Then turns to the mirror. But it definitely looked like
room. Were you still in the same room?
we're in the same room, yeah.
Yeah. You're all in the same room.
Like I said, in that situation, it would really... It would require... how long would this be in effect?
I can keep this up indefinitely, provided I forfeit up some sleep.
The line of thinking is, like I said, it would require this spell to be intact at such a point in time that Arthur would then scry upon Imris, and it would also sort of assume that seeing such a sight wouldn't prompt him to go. I highly doubt, based on the interest that he seems to have in Imris, that and desire to make sure that Albion doesn't locate Imris, that he would simply discover what he scry upon and what seemed to be Imris's dead body, and then simply let it be.
Yeah.
Now, that's my fear, is that it's quite possible that he would come upon it and need nothing of it and just leave her there to rot, so to speak. But even if he did think that she was dead, it's possible he would then, at that point, if he had no further use for her, at the very least, bring her to Albion under the guise that he had managed to locate her, but only her corpse or something similar.
Hold on. This might be a bait. We can use the spell as a bait to ambush Arthur.
Can we take Arthur? I'm under the impression that Arthur is like the biggest scumbag in the world, and I'll be honest, if we could take him, I'm more than happy to do so. But I also think he's the only person who can stop Albion from getting to M. And he's also some celebrity mage.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Well,
So
I don't know.
excited.
Am I
Way
right?
too
Like,
excited.
could we take him down?
I don't think we could. We saw him at the party when he was making a scene. He made it very clear that at least until the Justices of Maul showed up, that if he wanted to wipe the floor with everyone at the party, it was well within his power to do so. I'm afraid that trying to get the jump on him, so to speak, would only possibly render the rest of us unable to assist and help Emrys further. I disagree with the notion that he's the only one capable of holding back Albion. Like I said, I believe if we were able to get these services of Kara, that would help. And
Where's your
the things we go on?
master at? Do you think?
I
I know you only mentioned her the one time, and I don't know if that's maybe telling of your relationship with her. But your one Ilya Volshnik, could she sort things out for us? Could she give us a hand at all? Could you call her up or anything like that?
I'm afraid that I don't know where she is. And in fact, the whole reason I'm here at all and not with her is because I am searching for her.
What does she what she look like? I could try casting a sending spell to kind of like ask her to help us out.
I appreciate the offer, but it is, though it is within my, I'm not entirely sure that would necessarily work. And even if so, based on the best of my understanding, no one knows where she is. And I believe for that specific spell, you would most likely need to at least be familiar with the person, but I guess all I was just say is I don't think that my master would be in a position to provide assistance. To be frank, I believe personally, our best course of action would be to make certain that Arthur cannot continue to bring harm to Emrys, and that to put Arthur out of the picture, so to speak. But obviously, like I said earlier, I think what Emrys desires, if Emrys wishes to pursue a different route or something like that, that's perfectly within her right.
Kyoho's just been sitting there quietly listening to this, except for the parts that have been in people's minds.
So how do we? So what we want to do is we want to take down Arthur. We want to leave so Albia doesn't show up around here. We want to be able to take down Albion. We want to be able to hide.
I don't believe we would necessarily need to take down Albion. At the very least, if we were able to, like I said, if we were able to track down Kara and procure their assistance, we would at the very least be able to keep Albion from ever locating Imris or finding them. And at that point in time, that could very well be our best option.
We can do that here, or is it worth pursuing leaving and then finding her from there?
I don't think that Kefra is in town. I believe we would have to leave, but my concern with that is I feel especially since Imris only has 3 days before the protection wears out for the amulet. My concern is we'd have to leave to seek such assistance, and the very act of leaving puts us at odds and at the mercy of Arthur. Which is why I'm feeling that before we can... If Arthur wasn't such a scumbag, he would be and had Imris's best interest in heart, then he would be the most logical way to protect Imris from Albion, as he is already doing. The issue is that I'm not sure Arthur is much better, and that just simply can't continue. And
So
if the only other ways to... Say that again?
Yeah, Emrys' plan is the best then, or?
I don't know. Like I said, I believe if Arthur is not an option of protection, which I wholeheartedly believe he isn't, then I think the only other options are outside of the city, are either simply, as you said, fleeing and hoping that Albion simply won't possess the means of tracking Imris down, or seeking assistance with Kera for greater divination protection or some other sort of plan. And that would have to be our other options beyond Arthur. And if leaving town and pursuing those options is not available for us so long as Arthur is around, then to me the logical approach to things would be to make sure that Arthur is out of the picture and that we don't have to worry about him pursuing us, and that therefore we would be free to track down those alternate means of protection.
This is certainly a complex situation that we have ourselves in. I'm trying to think of what to do.
We can't leave. We can't stay. We need to frame him.
Is there any possibility of asking the Court of Maul for help?
Emir will hear in his head. Just... I don't want to go back to Arthur, but I don't want Arthur to be... I don't want Arthur to find me. I don't want Arthur to... I don't want to have to worry about Arthur.
Demir will speak back to Imris. When did Arthur tell you needed to return? At the end of the 3-day time? When your amulet needs refreshment?
He sent me a message earlier. He wants to see me tomorrow.
Demir out loud is gonna curse in halfling, and then refocus with Imris.
He probably got the same message I did.
Well, like I said, I think the only way to get out, this is all telepathically again, I think the only way to eliminate that is to carry forward with the plan of framing Arthur. Now, had he not requested to see you tomorrow, one option would have been that one of us could try and seek entrance to his abode to at least plant the evidence for this initial stage, of which there, to my understanding, there's going to be further steps need taken. Perhaps Kyoho could have simply tried to use her wiles to try and, or under the pretext of using her wiles to barter with Arthur to go easy on you, or I could voice my support in his proposition from last night that I help him track down my master and would lend my assistance to him, and therefore enter myself. Though I am afraid of what steps he might take if you had had your 3 days, those would be our best options. Although I hate to consider what might happen if we try and go to Arthur himself and you're not there with us. I don't want to say that you need to go back, or I don't want you to go back, but if we are quite in a bind, and like I said, my personal thought is that Arthur needs to be taken care of if we don't want him coming after you, and we have to figure out the best way to do that and to take care of him as soon as possible.
Maybe the easier way would be with Kyoho. He seems to have.
This was all telepathically, by the way.
Oh, sorry. I'm so
That's
sorry.
why I wasn't commenting on it either.
Sorry.
Didn't say Demir liked that plan and our idea. You just was thinking about possible methods.
Yeah.
Demir kind of hears back quietly. Just Emrys is still, by the way, looking a lot, still under the effects of calm person. So, looking a lot better than before, but still, even though Emrys is calm, they're still quite reserved, like much more so than usual. And Demir just hears I don't want to go back, but if it means that I don't ever have to go back afterwards, then maybe I might be able to. He said, he told me just now when he messaged me. He says he has the answers he wanted. So he might not need anything more. He might not do anything more.
Do you think that he would, I don't know if your relationship with Halbion, but do you think that he would similarly want you there with him, under his control at all times?
I saw Albion last night. He came to see Arthur. Arthur hid me. And I saw Albion. And I definitely do not want to go back to Albion either. He he's even more possessive than Arthur. I've never seen Master Albion like that. It's frightening.
At the very least, if you were to return, if you were to carry this forward, I could at least attempt to be there with you, so you are not alone, like I said, under the guise that I would then be assisting Arthur like he desired for tracking down my master. And in return for further protection, I would by no means have you go back alone. I do, like I said, my concern is that if Arthur knows why Arthur made the deal with you because he wanted to figure out why Albion wanted you so much, and if he has indeed figured that out, then it would stand reason that either he would then keep you for himself for the same reasons as Albion, and you would be in the very least a very similar situation, or perhaps if he knew what he now knows and doesn't seek anything else, he could perhaps pursue returning you to Albion. In which case, I think if I was able to help barter my assistance to him to at least stave off such a possibility, then that could be the case. Though, like I said earlier, I think Arthur is very power hungry, and I believe that he would want you under his control, which means I think if we do go back, then even if you're allowed to leave once more, I'm not sure he's ever going to let you get out of his arcane sight, so to speak.
I don't know. You told me that you had a plan to incriminate Arthur. If we can get revenge on him, that I don't know if it's possible, but I want that. And
Yes,
I know that I don't know how you plan to do such a thing, but you said if it needs access to his home, then if we go together, then Arthur will most certainly have his attention on me.
Those are my thoughts. It what we've been tasked with, at least initially, has been to plant an incriminating letter and vial in a location that Arthur would presumably hide something, but that until presumably his home was raided by authorities, that he would not locate himself. Something that he would not uncover before then. I don't know what further steps would be, but my assumption is that Sulphur's employers intend to essentially sick the Court of Maul on Arthur, and Callahan's words with them have at the very least, given them reason to suspect Arthur, and presumably what next steps we would take, or that Sulphur's employers would take, would give them further reason, and I believe that is the ways. I don't believe we would need to necessarily gain access further. I believe we were specifically tasked with this because we're the only people that could for them. And if we are able to, the two of us, if the need arises, I mean, I'm afraid going into an archmage's lair, so to speak.
Archbishop.
That no, the
Ah, yes, Archbishop Dane.
He's been
Shut up.
converted to
Shut up,
Mar.
all you. I'm afraid, even though I possess such magic such as invisibility, I would be afraid of trying to sneak someone in, like Kyoho or Callahan, to be fair, he could very well, if the guise was that he could very well maybe let us all in, or at the very least, it could be worth a shot that we simply wanted to accompany you, and that I was here to discuss the deals further. We could very well do our best to arrange a situation where someone would be out of his gaze, and while tiptoeing around his home, whatever arcane wards he may have about would prove dangerous, of course, but it is very well possible that we could pull this off.
I would like to let Arthur know in advance that I might be accompanied, but
Truly.
I cannot. We will have to hope that he allows it tomorrow.
I understand.
I think we might. You have business with Arthur, so I think, and that might be enough for you. For Kyoho,
Just imagining you both look at Kyoho very silently.
It's exactly that. Everyone's just kind of, it's just like, for Kyoho, everyone just kind of looks to Kyoho.
Kyoho's gonna think, are they ready for me to try to explain my side of things? I don't know. They're talking to each other. I'm out of the loop.
For the others, it might be more difficult.
Yes, it would be a simple. I imagine we would propose it as I have business regarding his outstanding request of me, and that we would also like the rest of our party to accompany us, and perhaps that and the allure of Kyoho also being there would persuade him to let us all in, and at the worst, I do feel that he would at least, even if he were to turn away Callahan and Terry, that he would at least let the rest of us in, and 3 is certainly better than 2 or 1, and Kyoho is definitely more nimble and sneakier than you or I.
She's quick and nimble when she needs to be.
Emery just kind of nods.
Well, if that is what you wish, I don't know exactly how Arthur could be listening in on. You could simply inform everyone one by one telepathically, or I could recruit we could PvP for a moment, or I could take people by groups of 2 or something like that. But if that is what you wish to do, we should share the plans with everyone.
Emrys just kind of weakly smiles a bit. If it's all right with you, I think I will turn in for the night. And while I sleep, you may do as you wish.
Absolutely.
Emrys just kind of nods.
Tamir turns to everyone else and says, Emrys is wanting to turn in for the night, which is understandable given what they've been through since she last slept. And
Yeah,
Yes.
Emrys is calm,
I-
but Emrys has very clear bags under their eyes.
Yes. Rest would be good for, I think, all of us right now.
yes, and I believe, though before the rest of us turn in, I would like to at least share what Emrys has decided upon in making sure that there's no prying ears from a certain wizard.
All right.
All right. We can just assume that Demir tells everyone the conversation once Emrys has been asleep.
Yes. Though Demir doesn't do impersonations or voices.
Ah, yes, of course. No, but you tell them the plan, so you guys hear about the plan, about everyone going. What do y'all think?
I think that we are missing out on the potential of being able to find someone else closer than a divination wizard we do not know where they are that might be able to protect Emrys from both Arthur and Albion.
Such as?
Well,
Motions
Yeah.
to the Court of Maul.
I mean,
The core.
Elmris is being held against their own will, so
I can try and reach out if you want, but look, guys, I'll be honest. It's never really been anything that I really considered up until last night, but in truth, I may in fact be the lowest ranking member within the entirety structure of the religion.
No.
You don't say.
That can't be.
I know
Can
you see me, you see the
your
confidence and the bravado and the mini book of Maul, but these guys they have major books of Mauls at the ready.
oh damn.
Well, I do suppose that the court would be an option, especially if I'm afraid of how
I
Arthur
can
could
go for
potentially
it.
weasel.
I
Sorry,
can
what were you
go
saying?
for it. I can go for you guys. What?
I mean, it's possible that they could protect Emrys further from Arthur or Albion, although I'm not entirely sure, especially since this came into agreement with Arthur about their situation, if they would necessarily take action. Although, obviously, if Arthur was indicted and he was under the belief that he was then doing this business with Emrys to protect them, it's quite possible that we could then parlay such a thing into protection from The court of Maul,
But
yes.
recall, I have already extended suspicions towards the people that are asking you to frame Arthur to the court of Maul. So going forward on that path might not be the best for us. If they end up getting caught due to that, we are implicated as well.
So we should double down on those plans. Frame Arthur.
I'm saying that framing Arthur might be bad. As much as I do not care for him, the Court of Maul has been. I've pointed the Court of Maul's suspicion towards Yoru Sulfur.
I do maintain my belief that, as I said, we were more or less strong-armed into this arrangement, and I certainly wouldn't want you. I wouldn't certainly. I would understand if you would want to not partake in such a thing, Kyoho. I only mean that Emrys, as I mentioned, Emrys was very clear that they did not want Arthur to potentially go after her or to be,
Yes.
out of his grasp. And this is, to me,
this is a very, very muddy situation, and I am just trying to make sure that we have explored all of the options to try to find the best one instead of resigning ourselves to something that might go a lot worse than we expect, as it did last time.
I understand.
What if we take Arthur and Yoru Sulfur at once? We go to the Court of Maul. We explained what is happening with Emrys. And we also tell them about Yoru Sulfur's plan for framing Arthur. I mean, that will result in some investigation at least. Enough time for us to take Emrys out of here and maybe find someone else to protect
Would that necessarily protect Emrys from Arthur specifically, though? If anything, that could potentially paint Arthur as someone who's simply to be framed. And like I said, I'm not super familiar with the inner workings of the Court of Maul, but I am worried about the specific legality in that if Arthur is able to convince them that Emrys came under this arrangement, they agreed upon it, then they might very well see no issue with it, and if anything, then it's just
even
more
worse.
or less set in their minds that Arthur couldn't have been the one behind it, which, to be clear, I still believe that, framing aside, I think that he is by far the most likely suspect, and I would, not a betting man, but I would definitely hinge my bets on it.
If he were the most likely suspect, though, I'm uncertain why someone would be so adamant in framing him.
I think they just simply don't want the Court of Maul and interfering or other sources. It is possible that they're framing him because they want him simply out of the picture and they're the true culprits, or it could be that they simply want to pursue the investigation on their own accord for their own reasons, whatever they might be, and in the process take out a thorn in their side and Arthur. I don't intend to believe that these people's intentions are noble in the slightest. It is simply, as you said, it's muddy, and it is quite possible that there's various reasons that they would want this outcome besides being the culprits behind it themselves.
Well, as you guys have this discussion, it's actually midnight, so we do have to end it because it's late for some of us. So this discussion will be picked up next week. We'll continue it next week. And
Probably do some out of character discussion about where we might want it to go, so it's not just
yes,
3 hours of us talking about what to do in character.
yes,
Not
that
going anywhere.
yes,
Or another
that might be a good
RPG
thing.
session.
So but I just want to say I might be biased because I'm the DM, but I just love seeing you guys interacting and dealing with this moral quandary and
Yes.
and whatnot, and amazing acting. So I want to give props to my players because you guys are lovely and I adore you. And you guys are fantastic.
Thank
To
you.
the DM for making it all happen.
Thank you for running this game. It
Ah.
has been a lot of fun.
Yes.
And
Remember
we
we started and it was
party-wide
just
session 19.
Remember when we started and it was just a hey, go beat up these thugs in a sewer.
Yeah. Well, thank you for allowing me to be an evil DM. Apparently.
Nah, this isn't evil. This is pure twisted.
Oh, cool. Anyway, I'm just gonna go find someone real quick to raid, and then we can continue the discussion off stream, and then next session we'll continue on with the story. Yes.
Yes. Like we have Emrys being tortured, Kyoho being a prostitute to Arthur is on the table as a ruse for
No, it's
us
not.
to frame him.
I mean,
Not a prostitute, more just like, being that more like a host,
But guys, don't worry.
you know?
We have
It's
slavery
just
out
meant
there.
that Arthur will probably let in Kyoho because
Yeah.
he likes
Yeah,
her
yeah.
boobs. Not that she has to do anything or
Yeah,
just
I
like,
don't know.
oh
about
yeah,
that.
if she's coming along, of course she can.
all right, guys. I am going to be rating Riona VT. She was one of my players in the one shot, and she's currently
nice.
playing Alien Isolation. And she is a sweetheart. She's fun, and yeah, give her some love and all that good stuff. And I'll see you next week. And my players, we shall continue offline as yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This will be for you guys.